What's going on, guys? It's Inspector here, and holy shit, we're back to Call of Duty. Um, and it's not because I don't want to play other games. Thank you, Danielle, for texting me. It's not because I don't want to play other games. It's just because I had this kind of like this desire um, to start this little series of things that have been like on my mind recently, which is ultimately going to be called Road to Where I Am Today. And I'm going to cover multiple aspects of my life, like today, for instance. I'm not sure how many parts this is going to be, but like part of the road, like who I am today, a major part of who I am today is like part of my relationships, and now with Danielle, and I guess the real best way to start off is how I got to Danielle. That would be the road tour. My first real girlfriend. I, yeah, my first real girlfriend. I had plenty of girlfriends, like in junior high or whatever. Plenty of girls I talked to. We kissed or whatever and all that kind of shit. But like no one that was ever like I had any like feelings for. There's Danielle right now getting killed. Way to go, babe. Um, I had plenty of girls I hooked up with and went like in middle school or like before that even. And nothing was really too serious. My first serious girlfriend was this girl named Jody, who, incidentally enough, she ended up being funny story about Jody. She was my bully in 8th grade, middle school, 7th and 8th grade. She had a locker next to me in the hallway, and she would just torture the shit out of me. I'm not even talking like verbally. She would like smash my hand in the locker. Like she was a fucking straight up asshole bully. But I ended up meeting back up with her sometime in high school. I guess it was about sophomore year. And we were talking and whatnot. Obviously, I've said this a couple videos before where up until high school I was a relatively small guy. Like now I'm 6'1", 205, something like that. Before I was, in middle school, I was lucky to be over 5 foot, and I was 100 pounds wet. I was a really small kid, and I asked her. I said, I wasn't really worried about her, bullying me anymore. It's, I was I was in a better point in my life mentally and physically where she wouldn't get away with physically abusing, like bullying me or mentally abusing me. So I approached her and I asked her, what was up with that, and she pretty much came down to telling me that it was because that she liked me. She did all this bullying and that abuse and all that kind of shit because she liked me. And then we ended up like talking a little bit. It eventually progressed into a relationship that, for the most part, was on and off throughout the rest of my high school. We dated for a pretty serious amount of time. I would say from like the start of the summer before my sophomore year until about Christmas time the next year, which is fairly significant in comparison to other girlfriends I had at that point, where they would last a month or two and we'd be done. It was fairly serious. It was very genuine. We came to be very good friends, and it was like my number one rule. And it sounds weird. Is my number one rule for a girl, like getting in a relationship with a girl, would be like I need to have like she needs to be my friend first and my lover second. Like I want her to be there for me as a friend, and then all the sex and all that kind of stuff will come afterwards. I don't want her just to sit here and be like sex, and I can't have a conversation with her. The conversation to me is more important than the sex. And she was a very good friend. She was very easy to talk to. We shared interests. She knew how to have fun and joke while at the same time keeping it serious when it needed to be. And she was a very good girlfriend as far as that went. Really, what got, as it turns out to be in a lot of my high school relationships, what really got in the way and ended up being the downfall of our relationship was the fact that she had this ideal guy set in her head, like similar to something, if you guys ever seen the movie The Ugly Truth. She had like a checklist in her head, And, some things were prioritized higher than others. Some things, like for her, she wanted a cowboy. She wanted a hick, a guy who drank beer every day after school and drove a truck and had a small penis. And that wasn't me. I played sports. She liked that, but I played sports. I didn't fucking have a truck. I didn't drink beer. I was those major checklist things for her, triple, really off of like what was going to be for her to settle in reality into a relationship. And it's sad because, like I said, she was a really good friend, and it ended up being, like I said, it ended up being one of those things where like we broke up. I mean, some of you guys may have had this before, where you broke up and you're like, you two like are really unsure when you ask the person or the person asked you. You can't really explain why you broke up. You just know, you're going to keep breaking up. You've kept breaking up. Like, it's just not working out. And it was just unfortunate. It was kind of an eye-opener for me to be like, to see that something so fucking small, something like, I don't drive a truck and I don't drink beer, I'm going to pit parties every week, like that was the thing that kept possibly a very good relationship from succeeding. And she was a good girl, but she we went back and forth for a while. Things were serious, and then like the last time ended it for me for real was I was working what would that be, my junior year. It was my senior year. I was working for as a part-time electrician for my friend's dad, and he would flip houses. He would buy shitty houses, knife that barrel me. Why am I fucking ruling this game? God damn, I remember this game. We would flip houses and everything, and I was working as an electrician for him. And he flipped a house over. He was flipping a house over in Delaware. I lived in New Jersey, and so me and his son, who worked for the company, Camper, took a ferry over to Delaware to do some work on this house. And I was dating her at the time, and she naturally as working. I can't fucking answer the phone. I'm on a job. It was part of my duty to be on the job, work on the house. I didn't have a whole weekend to even work on this. He paid for one ticket for one set of tickets there and back. We needed to get the work done in a matter of a few hours. So I couldn't afford to fuck around. It was no small task. It wasn't like a mobile home, working on electric wise. This was a fairly, I want to say it was a 2-bedroom house. I had 3-4 bedrooms. It was a big house, and I had to do a lot of work for electrical wise. And she got pissed, and she didn't really believe me that I was over in Delaware for work. And she ended up having some people over, some guys who actually are friends of mine. But the one is known to have a crush on her since Vietnam, and she's like, oh yeah, we're drinking and whatnot. And how it originally came to be was she lied to me about it. She sat there and she said, damn, how did I lose that gunfight? She sat there and she said, oh, no one's over, and I can hear them in the background kind of thing. And there's one thing I don't tolerate is disrespect, and that was disrespectful to me. We had a great relationship built off of like I said, friends first, lovers second. And she went through it meant so much to me, and she went through that away because she didn't think rational. That really ended up being the end of it. And it's like everyone says, you fall hardest for your first love, and to a certain extent it was true. And it wasn't for no reason though. Things were good, with the exception of her few little things. I not getting over her checklist, and and not being able to act rationally all the time. But it certainly gave me a whole bunch of lessons for I applied them to my relationship with Danielle now. Everything needs to be if there's any kind of doubt, if it taught me to pick up on signs, and if there's any kind of doubt, and of what you're doing or it's not my job to, it's not her job to prove I'm not there. It's my job to prove I'm there. You know, if I had $1 million, if I tell you I have $1 million in the bank, it's not your job to prove to me I don't. It's my job to prove to you I do. So, like now, if I like in the beginning of, not now anyway, but like in the beginning of our relationship, me and Danielle's relationship, if I thought she was bothered by something, like I would, you know, if I said, hey, she said, what are you doing? I'd say, oh, I'm out at Nick's house. You know, and she was like, oh, okay, whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah, I would, you know, I would send her a picture of all of us at the party, or I would, you know, call her and have Nick next to me or something. Yeah, and it also taught me to pick girls from that point on that were, I didn't have a checklist, that didn't have their ideal set, and like, or if they do, everyone has ideals, but it taught me to go for a girl that doesn't doesn't have such strict restrictions on, you know, what they want in a relationship. But anyway, guys, that was part 1. That was Road to Jody. This is Road to Danielle, really, right now. Eventually, I'll get into other things such as school, work, all that kind of stuff. But hope you guys like it, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.